I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take us away.
Yeah, as I'm sitting in for President Charles tonight, I will share what he shares with us every meeting. That we will work together to better our town. We all have an equal voice. We may disagree, but we will do so with civility and respect, because in the end, we're all neighbors. I'd like to start this evening with any announcements. I do want to point out that we are still accepting applicants for the open council seat in Ward 1. Any resident who is a registered Republican may apply for that seat. Applications are being taken until January 2nd, and if you're interested, please see the town website for more info. Are there any other announcements to share? Thank you. Next, can we have a motion to first? Would you like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to move to ratify the appointment of Patrick Jennings as police officer for the town of McCandless Police Department.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Nay. Motion carries. And now I would like to invite Councilwoman Rapa and Mr. Patrick Jennings to the front, please, for the administration of the oath.
Raise your right hand, please. Repeat after me. I, Patrick Jennings,
I, Patrick Jennings,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth,
the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Would you like to know? Thank you.
Okay, another.
That's it.
Thank you, Officer Jennings. I'd like to personally welcome you to the town of McCandless, and we are excited to have you serve, and I hope you are going to enjoy the opportunity to work with our citizens here, and that we see a lot of great
Absolutely,
things
I
happening.
really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, moving on to agenda item number 5, public hearing. Mr. Corbell, if you would like to share the public hearing information, please.
Thank you, Councilman, Member Clunin. At this time, we will open and call to order the public hearing on tentatively identified ordinance 1532, amending the Code of Ordinances of the town of McCandless at Part 1, Title 1, General Provisions to reapportion the wards of the town of McCandless as required by the Municipal Reapportionment Act of 1974 and Section 301 of the McCandless Home Rule Charter. This will reapportion them into compact and contiguous wards as nearly equal in population as practicable following the reporting of the 2020 census. At this point, I'll hand it over to Ms. Susko to give us a little presentation.
Yeah, well, I didn't prepare the whole presentation that I did last time. But I mean, we were all here for it. So, you know, happy to answer any questions back then. Might have to grab my laptop and reference if so. But the reason that we are doing this public hearing again is because after the last time that we discussed this, went over the changes to the map. Nobody had any objections to those really. We reached out to the county to, make sure that everything was okay. Moving forward, with the map as we designed. Thank you. And we found out that the county actually has a different requirement from the state than we have from our own charter, which is their voting districts have to tack to census block boundaries. Now census blocks are how we, divvied up the population and made all those calculations and whatnot. So I mean, that's not a bad thing by any means. However, something that came out of the reapportionment committee meeting, the first round was there is a small census block that we partially share. Well, technically it's over the border in Pine Township, but when that development was created, they decided, petition, they wanted to vote with us. Since, all of the kids, I think, in the rest of the plan would have been, part of the McCandless School District rather than Pines. So anyway, the recommendation at that time, because the block is shaped a bit oddly, there are, essentially a couple houses on this one side over here that would let out on where we have proposed Ward 1. And then on the other side of that block, it has the end of the Breckenridge plan, basically, which would be in Ward 2. That was what was proposed, just to keep everybody voting with their neighbors. But because that census block is actually shared with Pine, it doesn't really follow any sensible street boundaries for us. And so our choices were basically, set it up so that the people at those polling places have to have their own special voting machine, and the confusion that could bring when the county redraws the districts, or just revert back to the census block boundaries. Whereas, maybe it's not the most ideal result that we would have liked, but overall it's going to reduce confusion to the greatest degree. So, no material changes to the actual population calculation. Since it was such a small area, there was really no impact in the first place, but we sent it back through the committee. They said that was okay, made sense to them. And so we had to re-advertise the hearing. So that's really the only material change. I can bring up the map if anyone needs me to, but again, it's very, basic, just affects a couple properties. So happy to take any questions though.
Any questions from town council? Seeing none, are there any public comments on the proposed ordinance? Any online comments? None? Okay. There aren't any other comments, then I will close the public hearing and we can move on in the agenda.
And I should also know, we're gonna actually do the vote for this on January 9th. So after that, we will send it to the county and it's officially.
Perfect.
Thank you, RJ. Now we will move on to agenda item number 6, public comment on agenda items only. Is there anyone here at Town Hall who would like to make a comment on an agenda item? Have you heard anyone online interested? Okay, no public comments. Moving on to reports of committees. Mr. Casey, if you'd like to start administration and finances.
Okay, hopefully everybody had an opportunity to review checklisting number 11. It's in your packet. Are there any questions? None from you, Jace? Okay, then great. I would like to make a motion to approve checklisting number 11 dated November 1st, 2022 to November 3rd, 2022, totaling $1,711,601.65 is submitted to each member of council and posted on the bulletin board and the town website.
Second.
Let me just clarify, that's November 30th.
Oh.
I'm not November 3rd. Yeah, November 30th. Thank you. So modified.
All in favor of the motion as the date was just amended?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. And number 2.
Okay, hopefully everybody had an opportunity to review their dashboard report. Are there any questions?
Good evening. My report was in your packet. As you can see, we are performing well above budget in revenue. That is mainly due to the real estate transfer tax that occurred early in the year, as well as EIT. We also have this year, we have done the transfer from the ARPA fund. So those monies are in the general fund and have been transferred to CIP to help fund those various projects this year. In addition, we're about on track with expenses. About 82%, which is about where we want to be this time of year. We do have a considerable amount of expenses that we will incur in December, so I expect us to end about on target. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them at this time.
We're good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trish.
Mhm.
Communications report. Brian, would you like to?
Communications packet is, the report is in your packet. If you have any questions, please let me know. I would like to add, we were trying something a little bit different on Facebook. We're trying something like stories, try to get a little bit wider audience. Might try doing a little more now.
Thank you. Liaison reports, Canvas Industrial Development Authority, Dr. Ropa,
No meeting. It's fine.
no meeting. North Hills Council of Governments, Mike's not here.
And I don't think there'd be any updates to offer from the con.
Public comment on Administration and Finance Committee items. Any online? Nope. Report of the Planning and Zoning Committee.
It's just me tonight. So I'll keep it quick because there was a lengthy staff report this month in your packets. We had a lot going on at the Planning Commission. Couple minor subdivisions, again, things that we had already discussed at prior meetings, as well as a rezoning request that is coming back to the Planning Commission next month. That is for the property across from the Schultz dealership, basically. 10-410 and 10-418 Perry Highway. So that will be coming back to council. January 23rd is when we've scheduled the public hearing for that. That particular request is basically the front of the properties are zone C3. It looks like when we created the Wexford Flats C3 area, we just kind of measured 250 feet from the roadway and chopped it there and split zone the parcels, which is a bit unusual. So we've got a request from that, applicant to rezone the back half of those parcels, which are currently R2, to C3. So again, you'll be seeing that at this corresponding meeting in January, and Planning Commission will be discussing that and making a recommendation at their January 3rd meeting as well. We've also got one other application here tonight, which we'll get to, later on the agenda, from Starbucks. It's a bit of an unusual situation. It's not even really a full redevelopment. It's really just an adaptive reuse of an existing bank. But due to some unusual aspects of our zoning code, which are detailed in the written report, they had to come through the zoning hearing board, and the condition was that they go through the land development application process, even though this wouldn't necessarily normally trigger that beyond an administrative review. So that applicant is here, for your consideration tonight. I'm sure he'll explain more when we get there. Last item, it's the same one that shows up every month, the updates on the zoning and Saldo modernization project. Things are moving along pretty well. We've delivered all of the draft chapters and sections to the Planning Commission at this point. So they're sort of getting us their last set of first round comments back. We are going to have our primary code writers from our consultant team at Michael Baker zooming in at the January 3rd Planning Commission meeting to sort of, have a bigger discussion, anything that the commissioners want to directly ask them about their, what did you think of this comment, or how to handle different issues. They're going to be available to have that discussion in January 3rd. So it's going to be a long one if you're coming with us again to, to that meeting. But we'll try to keep it efficient, interesting, and productive. So if you all have any questions, happy to answer them at this time. Otherwise, that's my report.
Good job. Thank you. Liaison reports, Planning Commission, Jason.
I think RJ summed everything up. Thank you.
Okay, Zoning Hearing Board,
There was no
Madam Vice
meeting.
President.
Thank you. There was no meeting in December.
Public comments on planning and zoning items. Any online? No. Okay, reports of the Recreation Committee.
Keep rolling.
You keep going.
Okay, public comments. Turn it over to the town manager's report.
Sure. I just want to quickly,
I
just
forgot.
again, thank
Oh.
both the Activities Advisory Committee and the Heritage and Cultural Center for the great job they did at Winterfest. And I think as we wrap up the year, the work that's been done has been remarkable and really exciting to see. And we hope it continues. And I know the Activities Advisory Committee will be getting ready to make plans for that pickleball court that we're all very excited to see.
Whoever did all the lights and everything did an amazing job.
We were in Public Works. Yeah,
Yeah, our Department of
Took
Public Works did an amazing job making
Mhm.
our town hall here and campus look very festive.
It's nice when you drive down Ingomar, you look over and see it.
Mhm.
So congratulations. Thank you. Any public comments on recreation and committee items? Now I'll turn it over to the town manager.
The town manager's report was in your packets. If you have any questions, let me know.
Okay,
thank you. Town Attorney's report.
My report was also in the packet. Happy to answer any questions. They're probably more appropriate for executive session. That's all I have.
Thank you. And is there any old business? from council? No? Moving on to new business, we would like to add an agenda item. And so I would like to make a motion to amend the agenda to vote on resolution number 28. Which Mr. O'Malley will share the information on that. But first, I think we need to make a motion to amend the agenda and then we'll,
Yes.
Then you can.
Are you making the motion? Or are you asking for a motion?
I'll ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to amend the agenda to add resolution number 28.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Against? Motion carries. The agenda item has been added to our agenda for the evening. And now we can move on. Mr. O'Malley, please.
Yeah, so sorry for the late addition. This is a grant application with the state of Pennsylvania, DCED, Department of Community and Economic Development, is the small water and sewer grants. We are looking at a couple stormwater projects that we might be able to apply for. However, the deadline is this month, so we have to take action on this resolution tonight. What I'm suggesting is we pass this resolution with a grant ask of up to $425,000, which is the max. And that gives us the ability to apply for this grant with the help of Gateway Engineers.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize resolution number 28 in the amount of $425,000.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any against? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to, someone make a motion for the Starbucks.
Sure, as the planning alternate, I will make a motion to approve the land development application submitted by Starbucks Coffee Company for the purpose of converting the existing bank building at 95 Blazer Drive, block and lot number 944-L-377 to a drive-through Starbucks store with outdoor patio seating, contingent upon the applicant addressing all remaining comments of the town engineer's review letter dated December 16th, 2022.
Before you second, may I ask a question?
I think we'd have to second and then we can ask
Okay.
questions.
Second.
We have a motion and a second now. Any questions from council?
Are you the gentleman from Starbucks?
Yes, sir.
I have an ask for you. First of all, I'd like to thank you on your ability to add some sidewalks on the side there.
Mr. Casey, and
What?
and just ask this gentleman to introduce himself, please.
Sure.
My name's Bill Moldovan. I'm with Kimley Horn, representing Starbucks Coffee Company. And Sue Federico is also able to join, but the meeting code is saying December 12th. So
Oh.
I'm not sure. I was trying to get on board, and Sue, if we need to answer any questions, I can find a way to plug her in, but
I don't want to stop
Yeah,
this in
that's
any
fine.
way.
That's fine.
I'm just throwing an ask out there.
yeah,
The sidewalk, as you have it on the plan, it comes up from it's short of McKnight Road, and I understand why, because you got to deal with PennDOT if you take it any further, so I'm cool with that. But it comes right into your facility, but it doesn't go up towards the turn where people would be walking down from Giant Eagle, et cetera. And I know there's no crosswalk there, but presumably that there might be a path down there in the future. And I was just wondering if you would consider maybe amending that somehow to extend it out a little further.
I think we could consider amending it. I'd say that if you would allow us to work with the town engineer to make sure that they're comfortable with where we place it. There's
That's perfect.
right of way that we'd have to
Sure.
to contend with on Blazer Drive as well.
It's in your capable hands. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
Thank you.
No other questions here for me.
I had just 2 points, and I'm not sure if it's, I know planning committee did a very thorough job working with you on this, but I know there was briefly some talk about a possible crosswalk from the KFC parking lot so that could be overflow parking for employees, et cetera. And want to make sure that's a safe passageway for pedestrians across there. Is that a possibility, or?
I think during the planning process, it was identified or suggested during the zoning hearing board meeting as a potential if we would require additional parking. I think the testimony during the zoning hearing board meeting and then subsequent the presentations, the planning commission, Starbucks feels that that we have sufficient parking on site, considering that it is a drive-through only establishment. And it was noted during the planning commission meeting that if we were to suggest shared parking and the potential for a crosswalk, that we would have to go through a shared parking agreement and potentially some recorded language in the deeds, and that was not part of the plan. I think it's safe to say that I'm speaking on behalf of Starbucks and saying that the parking on site, although we did receive a variance for reduced parking count, is adequate for the proposed use.
Thank you. My second question, and it may be on there, I just missed it. My eyes are not great, but is there any place for bicycle parking?
Yes, we have bicycle parking adjacent to the outdoor patio.
Okay, about how many slots would that be?
3.
Okay. Because I know in our long-term plans for the town is to connect through there with more modalities. Thank you. Any further questions from council? If there's no further questions, do we have a motion?
We already did that in
Oh, yeah,
second.
yeah,
I'm
it's
ready
like
for
a
the
vote,
vote.
yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any against? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
I can introduce them.
Yes, good evening. This is the reappropriation ordinance that happens annually as part of the 2022 budget process. We had a public hearing on this last meeting. There were no comments. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to address them.
If there's no preference, do we have a motion from council?
Make a motion to adopt tentatively identified ordinance 1531, amending ordinance numbers 1519 and 1527, reappropriating certain monies for fiscal year 2022.
Second.
Motion a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Motion carries. And
The next item is the resolution for the establishment of the master fee schedule for each year. We do this annually with a review of the current fees that are charged by the town to see if there's any that we need to revamp. One that we have chosen this year because of inflation and the current fuel costs is the off-duty police officer. That is going to have a existing fee plus a fee if they have a patrol car. So if they request the officer plus a patrol car or just the officer, there will be a differing price. Additionally, we also added the museum rental fees, the museum being more active this year. We want to make sure that that fee and the rental for that is on the fee schedule. Other than that, there are no changes. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to address them.
No further questions from council. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt the tentatively identified resolution number 27, establishing a master resolution to govern various towns' fee and charges.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any against? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'd like to take time for any non-agenda items from the public or our citizens here. Anybody would like to share any comments? Is there anyone online? Okay. Do we have I just would like to, before we adjourn, wish everybody a great holiday season. Be safe, enjoy your families and friends. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and we wish you all a fabulous new year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Well, we're gonna have to put you in charge of this office.
What do you say? When I put you in charge? Put you in